emergency stereophonic sound for the home is recorded on two separate tracks, each one giving special emphasis to certain sections of the orchestra, as heard from those positions. Now, when played back simultaneously on two separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension in sound impossible to obtain in a monaural recording.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Nate Ivy in the air chair. Let me pop this music down so you can actually hear me without being overpowered with that audio in the background. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. A beautiful day. I want to remind you that I'm kicking off the show every day this week at 8 a.m. Again, I've been slowly moving to a different time slot. Not to say that I'm going to completely abandon it. There may be days when I kick the show off, maybe a special show at 7, or we shall see. But for the foreseeable future, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. will be the time frame for the Nathan Ivy Show for a variety of reasons. All good, though. All good. Good morning. Welcome to the show. It's my pleasure to be here. I want to talk about everything that happened since the last time that we spoke together. That was Monday morning, and a lot has happened since then. I want to give you a heads up on some upcoming scheduled interviews that if you're a vocal local, then you might certainly want to make sure that you are listening to the show to check out. Good morning to everybody. By any chance, anybody get a chance to go over to see Tommy Davidson? I'm curious as to how it was. I'm curious. I posted on, maybe that was Thursday or Friday, it was like, hey, Tommy's going to be here. Maybe it was Saturday. And then people were posting like, you know what, they should do a better job of advertising. Well, you should listen to the Nathan Ivy Show. You get a couple of heads update on things like that. Don't tell me, tell them. Either you going or you not. Everybody got an opinion these days, right? They should do more advertising. Tell them that. I'm doing my job. Do you want to go or not? Simple as that. Good morning to you. I want to talk about everything that happened since we last spoke on Friday, including some observations from the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner, which if you've never gone before and you like to get dressed up and go those kind of things, check it out. Check it out. Alexis Rogers is she's just gifted. Alexis Rogers is just gifted. I mean, just no other way around it. You know what I'm saying? Some people are just great as MCs, right? It's just, they have the personality. They've got the grace, the poise, the intelligence to pull it off. And in my opinion, that perfectly describes Alexis Rogers. She was the mistress of ceremonies or the master of ceremonies, however you want to look at it. Is that sexist? I don't know. And she did a great job. And she's not even from Cincinnati. She's from, I think, Chicago originally, but, you know, she's embraced the city. And she did a great job. I want to say Lakeisha Ely, she did a great job as well. She was introducing, it's essentially an awards bank, and she was essentially, she was doing the presenting for the various awards. Shout out to Eric Abercrombie, a.k.a. Dr. E. If you went to the University of Cincinnati, you probably know the man. You probably know him. And he received an award for all the work that he's done. I'm actually soon to speak with Eric Abercrombie here on the show and just talk about his work and the state of, Black folks in college, student loan debt, whatever he wants to talk about and share in terms of working with the University of Cincinnati. I saw his lovely wife as well. And it was good to see them. I've seen a lot of folks, man. I ain't trying to leave nobody out. But, of course, I ran into TNT. I ran into, I saw Joe, but I didn't get a chance to run into Joe. He was busy, Joe Mallory. I did get a chance to run into Rob Richardson Sr. We talked it up for a little bit. And I saw Cam Hardy, who, by the way, there's a big announcement today. There's going to be a big press conference today. Big announcement. Big announcement as it relates to SORTA and the future of our busing system here in the city of Cincinnati. I'm reading directly from Cam Hardy's Facebook page 13 hours ago. It reads, "Tomorrow is a huge day for bus drivers in Hamilton County. We started this mission about 3 years ago to bring awareness around our updated and outmodeled bus system. Tomorrow, the SORTA board will have a special meeting in which they will vote to put something on the March 2020 ballot to improve public transportation." Yeah, so I'm going to try my best to be at that meeting and be your eyes and ears tomorrow. Ran into Erica Dansby. Ran into Cedric Denson. Ran into, Greg Landsman, you name it. It was a lot of folks there. Ran to everybody. It was great to see. Ran into a couple choppers. It's great. Yeah, everywhere I go. Ran into Janaea Trotter Bratton, who is running for judge, and we'll be speaking hopefully this week. I did not get a chance to go over and speak with her. I kind of saw her out of my peripheral. But Janaea Trotter Bratton's opponent was there as well. Yeah, she was there as well. And I was going to go over, get a photograph with her, and then I got sidetracked. Derek Bauman, you name it. There was a lot of folks there. Avtab Purevar was there. Not pure evil, as some people be saying. Like, very intelligent. Good spin. Good play on words. But overall, had a good time. Had a good time. I was with a wifey, man. And she's looking fabulous as always. She had a nice little black number on, which, well, none of your business. Ran into Charmaine McGuffey, who is running for Hamilton County Sheriff. And she said she got a lot of feedback from that conversation. She was with she came on the show like maybe 2 months ago, maybe. We'll talk with her again. But it was good. Overall, it was pretty good. I had a good time. And we cut out just a little bit early, I won't lie. Where's Nate going? We got kids. My daughter was watching my son. We paid her off. But still, he's only 4. We have to be there. When you got kids, you always have a convenient out. I got kids. And I use it. I use it quite frequently, especially when it's appropriate and accurate and true. Let me see what else happened in a room that you might be interested in. Let me see. Shout out to Kevin Aldridge. He was there. I didn't get a chance to see him face to face, but he took the stage, and I think the Inquirer was one of the presenting sponsors. No mention of his endeavor, which I thought was super on point. Kevin's on point with the. He's super on point with the messaging. Super on point. Who else was there? It was. I put some pictures up. If you're in the pictures, you can check it out for yourself. To get going on and on. You can see it was there. I ran to Bishop Bobby Hilton. Man, I've ever told you my Bishop Bobby Hilton story? You probably wouldn't believe it if I told you the story. I ain't ever tell you the story? How I was talking about, this is years ago. I'm in commercial radio, right? I didn't even know that Bishop Bobby Hilton even existed. I never knew Bishop Bobby Hilton. I didn't know about his church. I don't know these preachers individually like that. It wasn't about any individual person. It's a true story. I'm going to show you something real quick. Bishop Bobby Hilton. Who I think overall is a good guy. And I would like to think that, he overall has a positive impact in our community. But let me tell you, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but I will tell you some of the story. So, I've told this story before. I got a couple of weak spots, some shit that'll piss me off real quick. And it don't matter who it is. It don't matter where we are. It's a couple of things that really burn me up. And the number one at the top of that list is when I see people being taken advantage of. That shit burns me up. Nothing burns me up more than when I see elderly people being taken advantage of, when I see children being taken advantage of, when I see handicapped people being taken advantage of, when I see people being bullied. That shit burns me up for some reason. I've always been like that. That shit gets me going. I'm getting going now. Because it's just the weakest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? You're going to pick on somebody you know that you physically or intellectually or whatever. Maybe, even on the jobs, I've seen some stuff that just burns me up. I'll say it again. Real power don't power trip. Real power doesn't have to power trip. When you're securing yourself, you ain't got to throw your weight around. Just do you. Just do you. Be you. Live your life. So, I watched my grandmother when she got older be taken advantage of by a woman who was in the church. And she fleeced my grandmother we don't even know how much money she got on my grandmother. Oh, my grandmother was a somebody in the church. She was a somebody. Sweet one. My grandmother was super smart, all that kind of stuff. But that religion can get them. I watched it. Tore me up inside. Again, we still don't know how much this woman, had banged out of my grandmother. I mean, to the point where my granny, smart woman, she was older now. My grandfather passed away. That's a real sensitive time. You've been married to somebody for 40-something years, they pass away. You know what happens. You know what happens in those kind of relationships when somebody passes away. We already know. And I knew then. I was a younger G, but I still knew. And, I remember there was times where, she's struggling to make the mortgage. Meanwhile, she keeping the lights on in the damn church. Yeah. It got that deep. Now, even as a younger dude, I've always been taught to speak my mind. So, I told my granny, but how you gonna tell a grown person what to do with their money? Check comes in her name. I wasn't I didn't have attorney power over her estate at that particular time. So, things happen. And so I carried that forward when I got into media. And I love to call out these whack ass preachers. And I don't give a damn if anybody don't like it. If you don't like it, then turn this off. Unsubscribe. This is what I'm doing. I'm telling you, I took that into radio. So one day, commercial radio. So one day I'm on the air. I don't know what it was. I was just in a mood. I started talking about these preachers, man. I started talking about these preachers living these big lifestyles. I didn't say anybody's name in particular because I didn't have any names in particular. I wasn't talking about anyone in Cincinnati. But I laid into their ass. It must have been something good, too, because it got back to the Bishop Bobby Hilton. At this point, I didn't even know who he was. And would you believe that this man contacted the radio station where I worked to complain because I was generally talking about the state of the church and how black people in the church, can somehow be led astray. Now, you ever heard that phrase? A hit dog holler? Exactly. Negro, I don't even know who you are. Meanwhile, I'm in a meeting all of a sudden. Him, station management, me, sales team, talking about some shit I said on the radio and never even mentioned his name. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You wouldn't believe what actually happened in the meeting. It was amazing. I can say this to you because there are no consequences. I don't give a damn. What you gonna do? I work for myself. I'm not affiliated with anybody like that. Makes no difference. So I keep it real with you. And I think I said this back then, actually. Went back on the air the very next day and was like, wow, this is strange. Here I am speaking generally about somebody, and here you stand up and say, hey, why are you talking about me? Who are you? I had no idea who you were. And for years, every time I saw Bobby Hilton, I used to give him the business. He used to be so uncomfortable. Because, again, there were some more things that came out of that had to do with him and his wife, actually, that was very, let's say, very revealing. It was very revealing about the mindset of our so-called leadership in this city. It was real interesting. For years, every time I saw Bishop Bobby Hilton, I was giving the business, like, hey, what's up with this? I would bring the situation up every single time. You should have saw his face. Then after a while, I didn't get anything out of it anymore, so I used to let it go. I just let it go. I'm telling you, back in the day, Bishop Bobby Hilton did not like Nathan Ivey at all. And again, all I'm doing is speaking generically about the state of the black church. That's it. Never use nobody's name, nothing. All of a sudden, you pop up talking about, how dare you talk about me? Who are you? Who are you? I had no idea who the guy was. I don't keep up with the latest churches and all that kind of shit. I'll let y'all do that. I don't do that. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. If you press me, I'll tell you the whole damn story. It'll blow your mind. You won't believe me. You won't believe me. I'll just tell you that right now. But it's absolutely true. Very interesting. So I saw Bishop Bobby Hilton saying I saw Iris, Sister Iris, and her husband. They were there as well. It was good to see them. Ran into Gabe Davis. He was there, and his lovely wife. They were there as well. So it was a lot of folks, man. It was the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner. I would say that if you've never gone before, check it out. Get an opportunity to go, check it out. Check it out. We spent our time in far less far more trivial ways than supporting the nation's oldest civil rights organization. I would say that. Well, it looks like now that things are kind of changing. Within the last, I'd say, this poll came out Saturday night. There's a new poll that everyone, in terms of who talks about national politics on a daily basis, they're going to be discussing this poll. A latest poll says that now there is movement. There's a shift in terms of how people view whether Donald Trump should be impeached. Now, for me, I look at it two ways. I understand what some people may say could be the political consequences for Donald Trump going through this impeachment process. If you look at the history books, though, this is a little bit different. You know, the one thing that's different about this impeachment process that has to be put out there up front, if you're into that kind of thing, is that this impeachment process is going to be taking place during an election year. That's never happened before. In previous years, it was like a year or two before the election year. And in both cases, those presidents actually were reelected. So this is something a little bit different. You know, by this impeachment potentially happening during an election year, because if this takes place, you know, the Democrats are going to drag it out to 2020, make it as close to the election as possible because it just makes perfect sense. What is that going to mean, you know, for the consequences of 2020? Now, me personally, I think somebody in the chop shop said it best. I think the Democrats should focus on building a better candidate, but it doesn't mean you can't walk and chew gum at the same time, right? I'm sure they can accomplish both of these things, but I think the policy, the candidate, the quality of what they are offering is what's really going to resonate with people more so than underlining what we already know about Trump. Trump is a lying cad. That's what he is. He's a narcissistic, self-absorbed, lying-ass cad, C-A-D, meaning he's chasing tail all the time, even though he's married. He's a bundle of hypocrisy. Made in America. Your clothes ain't made in America, and you didn't marry an American woman. He's just a bundle of contradiction, right? The same man that said, oh, man, being a celebrity is great, man. I mean, you can just walk up to him and grab him by the ussy. Like, it's great. You can sexually assault women. They don't even say anything. Listen, I didn't need these scandals to know that Trump was not the kind of person that I wanted to represent me. But you had these mofos running around here talking about some Bernie or bust and I don't believe in voting and all this other dumb shh. Oh, I want to curse, but it's not 9:30 yet. And that helped to put this fool in the White House along with the Russians and the other election tampering, legal maneuvers to try to stop primarily black people from voting in southern states, also in states like Wisconsin. And we still don't know the full details of the election tampering that took place. I mean, just look at Atlanta and that governor's race. My God, right? Look no further than that. Look no further than that. But the latest polls suggest that now it's a 55-45 percentage split in terms of the latest polls. 55% of people who responded in this poll are saying that they want to impeach Donald Trump. And so now this morning on Morning Joe and these other shows, they're going to be talking about this like, oh, the White House really got problems. I mean, did anybody care to purchase and or watch to read the book that was written by Michael Wolff? Remember he wrote that book about Trump? It was like Trump gave him unprecedented access during the first years of his administration. The guy came out and wrote a book about how Trump was an idiot. A lying-ass idiot. At that point, the Mueller investigation was a specter. But again, I'm not saying I'm an expert on Trump, but I did my research. And all this shit, here we go again. All this stuff that we dealing with Trump, this is nothing new. Trump is one. If you just do a little bit of research, I'm sure you have. You do a little bit of research into Trump's relationship with the New York media. This is nothing. This is every day. This chaos. Oh, impeachment. Oh, inquiry. Oh, criminal investigation. Oh, civil allegation. Oh, being sued, class action lawsuits. This is normal. This is par for the course. There's some people that like chaos. There was a TV show that had the wackest ending, the wackest couple of ending episodes ever called Game of Thrones. I'm still mad about that. Wasted all my damn time for that whack-ass ending. Still mad about that. They have a character who died maybe in like the second to last season. He had a phrase, chaos is a ladder. And that's Trump. He don't give a damn. He's 70 years old. By the time all these investigations, Trump don't care about none of this because Trump has the money to get the kind of lawyers to use the legal system to his benefit. He ties that shit up. He ties it up. He tied up. He got enough money to have lawyers fighting, putting out fires on multiple fronts. And at 70 years old, with the contacts he has, with the money he has, with the influence he has, you really think Donald Trump's going to go to jail? Because if you think that, you's a damn fool. I told you with the Mueller report. So for us, it wasn't no real big, nobody was surprised on the Nathan Ivey show when the Mueller report came back with nothing, basically. Because that was the mandate. You can do an investigation, but you can't charge them criminally. So that means you can spend all this time and money on investigation. You come out, you present it, but you're presenting it and not charging anybody. The perception from the public is, must not be anything there. And that's how I look at this stuff. I mean, if this was another president, maybe different. This is Trump. Trump's a whole different animal. The media still hasn't caught up to Trump. He's still finally, slowly getting hip to his game. Everyday chaos. Tweeting stupid shit about nuclear weapons, excuse my language. Tweeting dumb-ish, semi-racist, just inconceivable, incoherent chaos. And it works for him. He's still in office. He's still in office, and the Democrats are still running around trying to figure out who's going to represent them. And those are the facts. And until we get a candidate that makes some sense, I don't see nothing happening. I don't see nothing happening. Drop Rice, where's Rashida Tlaib? I want one of those T-shirts. Impeach Trump. I did see the Impeach Trump T-shirt. So let me go to the phones. I've set the table, not completely, because there's a lot more I want to talk about. But let's go to the phones early this morning and see what's up. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the good people around the world. And yes, those choppers. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great.
Well, you brought up a lot of inquiries about the rat in the White House, and rightfully so. Well, first, before we get to his foolishness, tweaks over the weekend, threatening people, a revolution. As I stated to you last week, I am glad he's in there because I love it. He tells on everybody. He tells on himself. He tells on the Republicans. He tells on the Democrats. He's always talking about things that's been going on in the White House for over 300 years. It's nothing new. Every president, yes, some of you Kool-Aid drinking, plantation drinking Barack Obama fans, he did the same thing. Oh, I'm going to point it out in my book next year about what Barack Obama didn't tell you. Well, we'll get into him another day. But it's nothing new. That seat in the White House that was built by slaves, that house, they've been doing the dirt for over 300 years. Now you're seeing the presidency for what it is. And we here in the New York area, as you so nicely stated, we here in the New York, New Jersey area, we've watched Trump for 40, 50 years. He's dirt, devil in disguise. And guess what? He's got Rudolph Giuliani. The media calls him the greatest mayor. He's scum, the devil, another devil in disguise. The stuff that he did at Giuliani with the Central Park Five, stopping the Harlem Fair. I mean, it's a whole list of dirt that Giuliani did. And who protected him? As well as the media. You know, I think I said to you once before, Trump is like the genie in the bottle. When you release the genie out of the bottle, now the media wants him to go away. But he's not going away. You know, he's the genie that's out of the bottle and he doesn't want to go in the bottle. Remember the statement he stated? I can go up on Fifth Avenue, commit a crime, and nothing will happen.
Yeah, I remember that.
I wonder about that. And he might be right.
Think so?
But
Could be.
see, yes, well, because I say that because of the fact that, as I've stated many times, there are two sets of laws in this country, one for them and one for us. The rich and the powerful, as you stated, have the money and the legal means to drag things out, and the government doesn't want things dragged out. But whereas the sucker MCs like me and you, the average suckers on the street, we don't have the money. We don't have the legal powers to maneuver and get around certain things. Look at O.J. Simpson. He had the money. And all Johnny Cochran did on that last day, with all the money that O.J. spent, from what I remember reading, somewhere from $5 to $6 million on legal fees, investigations, and everything, Johnny Cochran said one thing in that trial: if it doesn't fit, it does not acquit. And he was off. That was it. Well, along with the L.A. Police Department bundling the case.
Hey, John, that's not how
yeah.
it went. It was if it doesn't fit, referring to the glove they found behind Kato Kalin's house, right underneath his air conditioner. Yes. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit, is how it goes.
Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you for correcting me. But other than that, for all the money that O.J. spent on that trial, just for Johnny Cochran to make those historic statements, the jury found him innocent. Okay, it wasn't just so much that. It was also the police department screwing up the case. The two stupid detectives jumping over the fence with evidence in their pocket. You know, they bungled the whole case. And we still don't know. Did O.J. commit the crime or did he not do it?
Yeah, we can't relitigate it now either, right? So.
Yeah, no, we don't. But I'm just giving you quick little examples of how this country is. Two sets of laws. You got the money, you can get away with fine. And Trump, he's in that bag. So over the weekend, he had no better things to do in the White House but tweak like crazy. Hey, if you're innocent, Trump, I know you're listening to the Navy Ivy show. If you're innocent, release the information. Why are you putting information on the server? Doesn't that sound like Hillary Clinton with the emails? Oh, it's funny how history repeats itself. Oh, let's go back in time, choppers. Remember Hillary when, just before the election, FBI released all the email dirt, and she puts it on the server. What is Trump doing? The same thing. Where are those Republicans? They should be screaming. Where are the Democrats? They should be screaming. You went after Hillary with the stupid emails. What is Trump doing? Taking information and putting it on a different server? Trying to hide something? What are you hiding? If you have nothing to hide, release it. So, this is a pattern. It's nothing new. I'm not surprised. I laugh because you're looking at the voting system for what it is. 2016. Let's go back in time.
Oh, no.
Gore and Cheney. Oh, yes, I have to repeat this before I hang up. Gore and Cheney. What happened? The Supreme Court handed Doofus Bush the election. He didn't deserve it.
That was 2000. That was 2000. Yeah.
He lost the election. But you do not hand an election to somebody that loses because you don't want to take the chance of tallying up those votes in Florida. Yes, it came down to Florida. We saw what happened with Florida. We don't need to repeat what Jeb Bush's brother, that was governor.
Yeah.
That mess. That whole mess.
One thing I don't understand, though, about that, John, is that I remember I was studying politics. I was in media back in 2000. I covered all of that, talked about that in real time. I remember very vividly. And the one thing I got of it was, yet again, another further emphasizing of just how important the Supreme Court really is. which to the last presidential election cycle, go back to 2016, you say what you want to say about, oh, Hillary was crooked and he was crooked. Two different philosophies, two different types of judges. That if Hillary was the president, we never would have got the judges. That Kavanaugh never would be on the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So, I'm just curious as to how you don't equate some of these fiascos and incidents to the will of the people deciding to vote on presidential years. And again, about Supreme Court, internet, there's a lot of issues that the president has sway over. And that's what I took from it. Like, oh, it just makes me realize just how important my vote is even more.
Well, I partly agree with your assessments with the Supreme Court, and partly I disagree. Yes, because the Supreme Court is there for the will of the people, just like the idiot in the White House. He's there for the will of the people.
Yeah, but how do they get there? That's the thing about it. How does the Supreme Court justices get there?
Because those feckless Republicans and Democrats sit up there and have their stupid hearings deciding on who should go in there, and they have a choice to either making the decision to pass this guy on him or her onto the Supreme Court or not passing them on. And when they know they got dirt behind this character or the candidate that's going to go in there, and trust me, they get all the information. Me and you don't get the information. And they know when Kavanaugh had dirt, he had plenty of dirt, and they passed him on anyway. And some of the Democrats passed him on too, knowing this guy was dirty. Okay, after Kavanaugh got in there, the real dirt came out on him. And the Democrats are now talking about taking this guy out.
Well, it's not going to happen.
I think it might be.
The answer to the question is they are nominated by the president. All those people in the Supreme Court right now, the process started with the nomination of a sitting president. That's how it starts.
Yes.
Now, do they always get their first person, the first name? No. Sometimes they start to do, background checks, or I guess that's vetting or whatever, and they realize, oh, you got something here that just isn't going to get you approved. But the process starts with whoever the president is making a nomination, and that's why it's so important. John, I got to make a move, man. I have to go.
Well, okay. Well, enjoy this chat, and we will keep it going again. A lot more to be talked about. Let's not forget, choppers, stay focused. Forget about that foolishness in Washington. Stay focused with reparation. It's coming. Have a nice day.
All right, take it easy. That's John. Let me give you a heads up on some things to show, or just some business about the show. So coming up on Friday, you may or may not, I know Mike is aware of this and probably many others, but you've got the inaugural ADOS conference. It's going to be in Kentucky, in Louisville. And there is a chance that perhaps we might do one or two things, either broadcast live, either Friday and or Saturday, and or get a chance to talk with some of the founders about why they're doing it, and they can give us more information about ADOS and some of the things you can look forward to. I'm just curious, is anyone in my audience planning on going to it? This is the inaugural one. It's going to be on Friday, first week in October, and Saturday. Be aware of that. If not, put it on your radar screen. And then, of course, you got the presidential debates. That's coming up on the 15th. And I did get an invite, and I am 90% there. And I can give you some insights. At first, they thought it might be 2 days. It's going to be 1 day. It's going to be the 15th of October. That's a Tuesday, which makes sense because you vote on Tuesday usually. First Tuesday in November. And look, we're just a year away. But not that far away. So let me give you a heads up on some things about the show, some things you can look forward to. Over the weekend, I got a chance to see, man, it was great. I didn't watch any football. I watched all football highlights. I'm aware of the Browns and all that kind of stuff. Tonight, the Bengals are going to play the Steelers. That's going to be a pretty big game. Monday night, two winless teams. Bet they didn't have that in mind when they set up that Monday night, that early Monday night contest between the Bengals and also the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bet they didn't see that. That's going to be deep. But I didn't watch any football. What I did get a chance to do is to see the big fight, Errol Spence versus Sean Porter, and it was a hell of a fight. Now, that's a fight. Man, them brothers was toe-to-toe. Damn, that was a close fight, man. Shout out to Sean Porter. He got heart. Errol Spence has heart. Yeah, it's one thing to always be the front runner. You're always in control. It's another to have a dog toe-to-toe, face-to-face, blow-to-blow, and you still come out on top. If you're a fight fan and you missed it, you should go on YouTube and check out those highlights. Watch the full highlights because it's well worth it. It's well worth it. It was a great, and again, use these fights, man, good. You got a Glass Joe in a ring with a real contender, and it just goes bad. That, man. And nobody ever went hard at Earl like that, man. But a shout out to Sean Porter, man. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. Good morning to you. Magnanimous King writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Magnanimous. Thank you for being here. Brenda writes, happy Monday. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to everybody. CG Dub writes, good morning. Kelly writes, good morning. Charles writes, good morning. Magnanimous writes, on my way to get my yearly checkup. Health is wealth. Yes, it is. In terms of the family, man, we had a glorious weekend. Oh, we had such a good time, man. Oh, my God. My kids are characters, as I'm sure yours are as well. And they look like me, so it makes it even better. Woody writes, happy risings, Choppers. Enjoy your day. Absolutely. Good to see you, Woody. Mason Marler writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Hashtag impeach in the streets. John writes, the Bengals didn't lose this weekend. That's right. They'll lose today. TNT writes, good morning. Hey, TNT, good to see you this weekend. A great event. Drop writes, good morning, Choppers. I'm only here so I won't get fined. Okay. Kush writes, good morning, kings and queens. Mr. Avery writes, morning. Drop writes, lamestream media is at it again. There you go. Channeling your inner Trump. See, I don't have an inner Trump. Look at you channeling your inner Trump, lamestream media. Magnanimous King writes, who's going to win the battle for the race for third place? The Bumgals? The Bumgals? Or Steelers, he writes. Bumgals? A little extra disrespect on there, huh? See? Ray writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, Ray. TNT writes, publishing clearinghouse was a scam for my grandma. Hella magazines in her house. Mine too. Publishing clearinghouse, man. It was a damn lottery. That's all it was. Nothing more. I remember that. Mason Marler writes, tinfoil hat time. Tracy writes, what are we talking about? Question mark. Good to see you, Tracy. Fresh off her 20-year anniversary weekend. Magnanimous King writes, Bishop Hilton is a straight buster, passing out that propaganda of a white Jesus and putting it on people's door out here in Forest Park. Drop writes, why is Eric Holder on the Breakfast Club? Is he the impeachment Negro whisperer? Speaking of Eric Holder, the man who is currently in jail for killing for killing Nipsey Hussle. That man's name is Eric Holder. And I read that maybe like 5 days ago, they had to put him on suicide watch because he damn near tried to kill himself. They found him unresponsive in his jail cell. Looks like he was just trying to kill himself. Now, man, listen, he taking all. They're probably doing the most unimaginable things you can imagine to that man. And who gives a damn? So serves him right. And I hope you burn in hell for what you did to that brother for no reason whatsoever. Let me see here. Mike Jones writes, lock him up. Lock him up. I'm with you, Mike Jones. I'm down with it. I just missed a couple phone calls. Please call me back. I'll put you straight on. Got the ringer down, and I just didn't hear it. I'll put you straight on. I think it might be, let's see here. It was my man Drop. I'm sure he's got something to say. He had to come in and let me get my super band music going because he's going to come in and cape. He's going to come in here and cape for Donald Trump. You already know it. Hey, Renee's in the house. She writes, good morning, everyone. Hey, good to see you, Renee. Welcome. Drop writes, is the media a willing accomplice of the desperate Democrats? No, they're not. Mason Mahler writes, lying ass cad, LOL. Right. That's what he is. And we knew that. We knew Trump wasn't the kind of person that you want to be along with your daughter. So what the fuck make you think he should be along with the secrets of our government, the levers of our government? Like I said, people was running around here on some dumb shit. Anybody that didn't vote because you don't like Hillary is a damn fool. Period. Ain't no talking about it. You made a mistake. You can correct it in 2020. But that's the game. See, the game, the Republicans knew that Trump was just not a good candidate. There was nothing they could do, not like a good person. You know, in 2016, you had two people who had some of the worst approval ratings in U.S. presidential campaign history going against one another. It's the only way Trump got in here. And they found enough dirt to make it seem like Hillary Clinton was just as dirty, just as corrupt, just as potentially, toxic for our governmental environment than Trump was. And I ain't here to tell you I think that Hillary was some savior. Hell no. She would have been a whole lot better for Trump. Or maybe not. Like, the sky hasn't fallen, right? The sun's coming up right now, right? He hasn't blown away the stratosphere. Okay, he hasn't destroyed the ozone layer yet. We're all still here. You still working, right? You still making money. I'm making money. We all living and eating, raising kids. What's changed that much? That's fair, too. All right, enough of me. More of you. Let's welcome Drop into the show. Good morning, Drop. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. Thank you for taking my call. And, sir, I would like to give you a media update as it is in concern of the faux impeachment inquiry. And if you'll allow me a few minutes, over the weekend, Mr. Ivy, because I'm pretty sure I talked to you on Friday, and I told you how that I agreed with your analysis of this whole process. So we fast forward to Monday. Now, I watched all of the Sunday shows, believe it or not. Well, actually listened to them. I also listened to Reverend Al Sharpton's show, also listened to Joy Reid's show. And Mr. Ivy, it is pretty clear that the Democrats had this all planned. Okay, now I say that because of the sequence of how things went down. And again, the first orange president, Donald Trump, is exactly what you said this morning in your monologue in reference to impeachment. Donald Trump is playing them, Nate. They keep treating this man like he's not president. I mean, they've done everything that they can along with their willing accomplice in the mainstream media to put that image out about him. Like, again, me agreeing with you in your monologue this morning. So it's almost like they forget that this man is privy to the information that they're claiming he's abusing or whatever. So fast forward to Monday. The Democrats didn't expect Donald Trump to release the actual phone call with the Ukrainian president because that's unprecedented. So if you look at the whistleblower's transcript, the way it was worded, Nate, because they were talking about how Trump was moving things to these private secure servers or whatever, but that's already been proven to be something that had happened prior to this because of the 3 years investigations and all the leaking that was happening within the Trump cabinet, all the people that were being fired and resigned. And so it seems that Donald Trump again played them. So on Friday, you all of a sudden have a poll from Politico, which is a political organization that showed, the American people are starting to turn. So now, fast forward, there's 3 other polls, but basically it's the same numbers. Nothing has changed.
Well, that's not
and
true.
All weekend.
That's not true.
But Mr. Ivy, I'm just explaining the strategy and how it, from where it started last week on Monday to where it is today. And
Yeah,
again, I keep saying that
there's a 10%
I agree
shift.
with your analysis.
Yeah, there's a 10% shift in the but drop. You said there's no difference in the
Yes.
poll numbers that just came out. That's not true. There's a 10% shift in those numbers. You go back
But see, Nate,
you go back to a week ago, we were talking about how it was a 50-50 split And the country was
Right.
divided over impeachment. Now, the latest numbers say 55-45 in favor of impeachment.
But Nate, you have to look at the breakdown of how the polling is done, okay, to come up with that number. Because you already know, Nate, that the Democrats are in their camp and the Republicans are in their camp. The only polling that should be done, I'm talking about based on this new thing that Nancy Pelosi did, saying that an impeachment is underway when it's really not, okay? Then you should only be polling independents, Nate, because Republicans, it's clear no Republicans are going to turn on Trump at this point. So the polling is swayed. And again, Nate, you got to look at margin of error
the polling
and
is
the number
swayed.
of people that are polled.
But Drop, what you
And
just
see,
said
Nate,
there doesn't
yes,
make a lot of sense, though.
yes.
Let's be fair. What you just said
I'm
don't make
sorry.
sense.
I'm sorry.
What you just said is that the polling that they're doing is too diverse, and they need to narrow it down to just one, part of the electorate, and that's independents. No, I don't think that makes any sense. If you're going to do a poll and you want to know what people think, it should be Democrats, Republicans, independent. What really it should be is how likely are you to vote? If you're likely to vote,
Nate,
then we want to know what you think.
But see, Nate, that's what I'm talking about. I've done polling before, Nate, and if you look on Real Clear Politics, that is an average of all the polls. Do you see how many different polls there are, Nate?
Yeah, I'm very aware of it.
Okay, so it's a reason that there are so many different polls. And when you see polling that is coming out in conjunction with a media story, and the media, the outlet that's coming out with the story, they create their own poll, Nate, to kind of substantiate what they're reporting as if it's true. So I'm just telling you,
the
Nate,
poll that I'm referring to this morning was done by CBS News and YouGov. Those were the two people that did the poll. Okay, not MSNBC. It wasn't MSNBC. It wasn't CNN.
Nate, but that's what I'm explaining to you how this whole thing evolved, Nate. That's what I'm trying to do. I know you want to be adversarial, but I'm not trying to.
I'm not trying to be adversarial. I just want to make sure we keep the facts out there. I want to be fact-based.
But see, no, first of all, polls are not facts, and you know that. Polls are what do you call it, Nate? A focus of what's happening.
It's a snapshot of it's a reflection and or a snapshot of people's opinion based upon that particular poll in that particular moment. That's what a poll is at that time. You're right.
Okay.
But that's not the facts that we were talking about. The facts that I was trying to make sure we keep on the table is when you said earlier that nothing has moved in the last week. And what I'm telling you is the polls are moving. They're trending, saying that more people are in favor of impeachment this week than they were last week. Those are the facts.
Okay, so Nate, if they're trying to remove Trump from office, okay, which you clearly said that is not going to happen based on this particular incident from this so-called whistleblower, Nate.
Let's stop right here, though.
Again, Nate. Yes, sir.
I did say that. I find it very hard to believe that the Republican leadership in the U.S. Senate, and that's ultimately who will be the jury in any impeachment case if it goes that far, I don't see them going against their guy. However, we're talking about maybe 20, 25 senators. And if these poll numbers start to stay consistent, or maybe they swing more maybe the polls start to suggest that more Americans are in favor of impeachment in some of these southern states and districts that these conservative and Republican senators represent, then maybe it might sway them. I don't know.
Okay, so but Nate, you also have to look at maybe these polls are meant for the House of Representatives to sway Democrats. Because, Nate, if Nancy Pelosi had the votes, she would take the vote to proceed with impeachment inquiry like the other two impeachment inquiries with Andrew, whatever his name was, back in the olden days, and then Bill Clinton. Nancy Pelosi is doing it different this way. And see, you're assuming that the polling is meant to sway Republicans. I'm trying to point out to you that it's being used to sway Democrats.
Whomever.
Because
I'm not making an opinion either way about that. My only thing is the facts are what they are. That's what's being reported within the last 24 hours.
And the fact is, okay, so if I agree with you, will you let me finish my
Oh, I'm gonna let you
analysis?
finish no matter what. The floor is yours.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Because Nate, that's what I was trying to point out, that the media comes out with this because it is so many other elements to this thing that I can't even really get into on the phone because it would just take up too much time. But if you look at how things happen, Nate, going back to Monday, all I'm saying is they had this planned, Nate, because this whole thing originated back in July or August, I think. Okay, July or August, this whole thing hit the desk basically. Okay, Adam Schiff had it way prior to the story breaking last week. So my whole point is, Nate, this was all orchestrated. Okay, and if you watch the news shows over the weekend, which I know you can't, you have a family and a business. So I'm telling you, Nate, I listened and to all of them, and I'm telling you, Nate, it's starting to shift because the Democrats didn't expect this level of pushback from Trump. Because, Nate, how can you cover up something that you turned over to the public? Okay, so all I'm saying is, Nate, we're here on Monday morning, and all the Democrats and the mainstream media, their willing accomplice, have to point at is the change in the polling. Because the Republicans ain't moving, okay? They're not showing the number of Democrats that are now in favor of impeachment in the House. Because now people are starting to ask Nancy, why didn't you take the vote? But guess what, Nate? They're on vacation for 2 weeks. And see, that's what I'm telling you, Nate. This is how they do these things. They throw a story, and now it's just out there. You don't have anybody in Washington to respond to this stuff. So you're going to have people like Rudy Giuliani. You're going to have people like Eric Holder appearing on the Breakfast Club. Because, Nate, all I'm telling you, Nate, it is no way that this president can have a special prosecutor investigate him, his family, his campaign for 2.5 years, have the report, have the results come out. Congress does not impeach him. They go up with these fake hearings and saying it's an inquiry, saying it's not an inquiry. Then Nancy Pelosi makes this announcement when this so-called whistleblower comes out who has second, third, and fourth-hand knowledge. So all I'm telling you, Nate, it's still they're still on vacation. The story is out there. Nothing's going to happen other than the media and these polls to try to sway public opinion. Because if you listen to them, Nate, they keep referencing the Mueller. Oh, this is not like Mueller. Mueller was too complicated for those stupid Americans to figure out. This is easy. We could do this fast. We could do this in 5 days. We'll be done. But, Nate, American people aren't stupid. They're like, wait a minute. You investigated him for 2.5 years. Didn't find, maybe you found something, but it wasn't what you thought it was. And now you're going to try this on a phone call? I mean, that's all I'm telling you. This is where we are on Monday. So, and when I heard Eric Holder this morning on the Breakfast Club, Nate, that tells me it's going to be a media campaign driven by polls. And then they're going to have these fake hearings.
Isn't every election? Huh? But you're acting as if this is something new. This is how politics.
I did. I told you, Nate. I told you last year that this election in 2020 was so important they were going to pull out all stops. Well, I kind of lean toward the racial tip because of the importance of the black vote. But it's clear now, Nate, they don't think they need the black vote because they think they're going to damage the president so much they don't need black folks to show up.
Listen, man, I know you go to thehill.com, right? You ever read thehill.com?
Yes.
Okay, you're aware of them. They got a piece that was put up about 2 hours ago by Juan Williams. It's an opinion piece.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the headline: Trump's grip on GOP Senate may come loose. And so the whole piece is about the possibility that if more bad news comes out, that some of these senators might be thinking, we might have to abandon this guy. Anything can happen.
Exactly. But Nate, haven't you heard this before? And I'm telling you, Nate, I'm going to put together a video. I don't know when. I may do it this week, but I've been thinking about it. I'm going to put together a video, and I'm going to show clips from MSNBC. I'm going to go back to 2017, and I'm going to show you clips, and then I'm going to show you clips from this past weekend.
Now, why would you want to do
You're going to see. Because, Nate, that's why I keep telling you the power of social media, Nate, and how it's changing things.
I understand
Nate,
I understand
I'm
it.
just saying, I understand what's going on, and I think most of the American people do understand what's going on. But it's the politicians, Nate. The parties are different, but the politicians are the same.
Let me ask you a
All
question.
they,
Does it
yes, sir.
matter what Trump did? Because I've heard you talk a lot about the Democrats and trying to use
Yes,
this. You try to throw in the
right,
whole they don't need black
yes,
folks. But this all
right.
starts with the actions of the president who,
I know.
okay, so how do you feel
He
about
is the
what
president,
he is the
Nate.
president?
But
But
see,
how do
Nate,
you feel about
Nate,
the
yes,
allegations of what he may have done? Do you think that what
okay,
he did warrants an investigation and an impeachment? Or is it kind of like, hey, no big deal?
okay. Okay, Mr. Ivy. He is the president of the United States. Okay, he is head of the executive branch. Okay, there's only two other branches of government. Okay, they all co-equal, but he is the president. Okay, he can run his executive branch how he feels. It's his branch. Nate, that's why somebody coming in here and telling you how to run Fin Digital. They say, "Oh, he don't deserve that company."
Well, it's a little
You're like,
different.
wait a minute.
This is something.
Okay,
That's a bad example, actually. It's a very bad
okay. Well,
example
maybe
because
it's too personal,
you're talking about a private business
but my point.
versus a
But Nate,
public
Nate,
office.
don't be a talk show host and try to take me off of my train of thought. Okay, but my point is the president has certain abilities as the president. It's called the powers or something. I forgot the name of it. Mr. Mueller, he'll know. But there's certain
You sure?
rights and powers that his office is given automatically.
Yeah, but one of
But
them
see,
is
Nate,
not the right to try to get a foreign power to go after a political adversary, right? I don't think that's in the
Nate,
Constitution. In fact, I think it's
but
against it.
Nate, listen to what I'm telling you, sir. You asked me a question if I thought anything he did was right or wrong. Okay, when you're the president, okay, and you get somebody that's not a seasoned politician that knows how things. But see, Nate, that's why he's in office.
I mean,
He
how many
was
times have we
elected.
heard that? Oh, he's not a
But Nate,
seasoned politician. Oh, forgive him. He doesn't understand how this works. That's BS. Enough of
Nate,
that.
I
He's
know
been in
it's
office
BS
for
to
2,
you.
3 years. For 3 years now. He's got a
But see,
staff
Nate,
of hundreds of people.
Nate, don't ask the question if you're not prepared to listen to the answer.
I
You may
heard your
not like
answer.
the answer,
But
if you,
I heard your answer. I'm just
I'm
saying.
telling you, Nate, I'm telling you,
What are
nobody
you telling
likes to see how the sausage is made. All the other presidents had the privacy of their office,
Huh?
the executive branch.
You don't have no
And
privacy when
there's
you're the
nothing,
president? Bill Clinton didn't have any privacy? Obama didn't have any
Nate, you know what I'm
privacy?
talking about.
No, I did
Nate,
not know
you
what
know
you're
what I'm
talking about. I don't know
talking
what you're talking about.
about. I mean, they're elected to be the commander-in-chief, the head of state.
Right.
They make decisions as president.
But that doesn't mean you can do whatever you want to do.
But Nate, who's saying it's the opposition party
The
that's out of power
whistleblower.
that's
No,
saying
it's a
that disagrees
whistleblower.
with what he's doing?
No, you acting like the
Nate,
Democrats brought this up. There's a whistleblower. Ostensibly
I
somebody
know.
that worked within the Trump administration
Nate,
who had
no,
this
Nate, listen,
information.
sir. The whistleblower works for the CIA, Nate.
Right.
He works for the CIA.
And that means that they're a part of the Trump administration.
Nate,
Because the CIA falls under the DOJ
Nate,
and that falls under the
Nate.
White House.
But Nate, I'm not coming on here to make you look bad. I'm telling you, if you read the whistleblower statute, it's about blowing whistle on members of the NSA, not the freaking president. And Nate, again,
So
the
if that's
whistleblower was told, Nate, the whistleblower was told by quote unquote.
That's not true.
But Nate,
That's not true.
Okay, you must have listened. Did you listen to Adam Schiff?
No,
Did you listen to Adam Schiff?
I'm listening to the
because
president.
he was lying.
The president.
He was lying.
Trump, listen, drop. That's how I call you Trump.
Nate, you can't.
Freudian slip. You always caping for him,
I
man.
know.
Hey, listen, you're wrong
Nate,
about something
it's
else.
Nate,
You said
it's
the
not
whistleblower was
Nate.
going after other members of the NSA. If that's true, then why is the president tweeting that he should be able to meet his accuser face to face? This is what he's tweeting. You need to get your facts together. That's what you need to do.
But Nate, the bottom line is, Nate, again, like I agree with you on your monologue today and your monologue on Friday about this whole process. Okay? Again, it is not what they're saying it is. Okay? It is no way you could have a investigation in 3 weeks of the President of the United States on a whistleblower who was not in the room, who did not hear anything, did not see anything, and the people he got the information from worked closely with the president. The president needs to know who these people are, Nate. Nate,
Any
and
excuse
again,
for Trump, man.
and again, Nate,
you will
I
twist
understand
yourself
what you're
into
saying.
a
I'm
pretzel for
caping
Trump.
for America, Nate.
No, you
I'm
caping
caping
for
for
Trump.
America and the political process, because Trump is either going to be gone in 2020 or 2024.
True.
America will move on.
True.
Okay? So I'm telling you, Nate, these politicians, when I say politicians, I include Democrat, Republican, and Independent. Nate, in 2019, these politicians ain't our mother and father's politicians, Nate. These people run to the cameras. These people run
Trump.
to their Twitter account.
Trump.
But
you're
Nate,
defining Trump.
Nate, Trump has always been in the middle of American culture. And you know that way before he was president. Okay? This man knows how to tap in to the psyche of the American pop culture, Nate.
I wouldn't say all
okay?
that.
So again, I'm going to let you go, Nate, because I don't want to ruin your show.
You can't, but thank you for the call. I appreciate it. That's impossible.
Okay.
I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not even sure how that would happen, but, I mean, you got a lot of facts that are just not right. They're just not right. And people can just look for themselves and make their own decisions. I mean, almost everything you said was a little bit off. Just saying. The facts, I mean. Oh, it had nothing to do with Trump. The whistleblower's talking about the NSA. But yet Trump is saying he should be able to face his accuser. Those things don't compute. I don't even know where to go. Let's just say, dun, 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 he's here, man. Captain Saver, fill in the blank for me. It's Trump, man. He has never seen a scandal. I'm sorry, that's Drop. Trump can do no wrong. Trump can do no wrong for Drop. I'm getting, what is this here? They just sent me a link. What is this? Pull this up.
Let me ask you something. Do you have another song that you can play?
We have only one box, man.
Only one box?
Yeah.
Do you know that song that you're playing, do you know what that song is?
I'm not from this country, man.
All right, let me help you out. That song that you're playing is called Nigga Love a Watermelon. That song...
Wow, somebody just sent that to me on Facebook. Shout out, appreciate it. Apparently, and I know the history of that. I remember spending a lot of time talking about the Ice Cream Man, that racist ass song that people don't know they don't really know the history of it. Does it make a difference though? Like if the Ice Cream Man doesn't know that it's a racist song, and the people, the kids, the family members don't know it's a racist song because it's just like a little jingle, does it make a difference? Or I know my thoughts on it, but I want to get your thoughts on it. Or should it be stamped out at every damn, it's like roaches. Wherever they show up, we there. You tell me, 513-873-7134. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. Kevin on the cell. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Sounds muffled, Kevin. You good?
Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm on the hands free. I know I'm kidding. Give me a second.
We got Kev on the cell.
How's that better?
Kev on the headset. What's up, Kev? Sounds much better, man. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning. So last time I called in, I believe Drop said something like, "Isn't it apropos that right after Kev's on the cell, I call in?" All right. Well, isn't it apropos right after Drop, I call in? That stuff that you just said, man, was a bunch of malarkey. You made all that up. All of that was made up. I don't even know where you got it from. Whistleblower doesn't apply to Trump or our president? Why is he exempt? And yes, DOJ falls under the executive branch. So even if you said he was exempt, he wouldn't be exempt by your own admission, because you said that policy is for the NSA and all of those other things that fall under the executive branch. Okay, this just getting frustrating now. This is a mission that Drop has. Now, Drop said very truthfully a very long time ago that I'm about me. Now, today he tries to say he's about America and he's putting America first. No, you putting Drop first. Hey, Nathan, man, look, the whole thing about, well, this guy, they shouldn't have be doing a follow up on him or whatever, or all of this other stuff. I would almost see your point. If it didn't turn all out to be true, but it's all true. So if what you've been investigated for is true indeed, then shouldn't you be investigated? That's a real question.
Oh, I don't have no problem
You know what
with
I'm saying?
it. But yeah, I understand completely. But Drop's in another universe. So the president has certain powers. Yeah, we get that. But you're not an emperor. You're not a god. There are some limitations to presidential powers. That's where the Constitution comes in, right?
That's right. And he's got powers, but he doesn't have powers like superheroes. He can't make the truth a lie and a lie a truth. He can't do that.
I know that's right. Even though he tries real hard.
What was the guy's Dementia? I forgot his name. Dementia. I forgot his name, but he could make people believe the way he wants to. I got it. Now I know. Donald Trump is really Obi-Wan Kenobi. These are not the George you're looking for. Come on, man. And that other excuse, the other thing that's bothering me is this excuse about, well, he's not a politician, then don't run for the office. And in 3 years, if you can't figure out anywhere else, if you can't figure out your job in 3 years, you're fired. His own words. Don't come back to hunting. Mr. Trump, you're fired. Hey, man, again, this is 2019. We got to make sure we get the vote out. You know what I mean? Make sure that everybody shows up. Let's just get the momentum started. Get to the polls this year. Follow through next year. Register this year. Follow through next year. Register next year. Follow through to the election. We have to be, and it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, I always say the same thing. You have the opportunity and the ability to craft your own outcomes, but you only have that opportunity if you show up at the polls. Saying that I should have registered the day after registration closed is not going to help anybody. So let's do that. And then for all the people that don't believe in voting or whatever, let's try it just this one time, see if it works out for you. Hey, man, Nathan on every station across the nation. Shout out to my man T-Bone. Be blessed.
Appreciate it. Rackham, great call. R.I.P. to the almighty T-Bone, man. He's a good brother, man. He just made the transition before we did. And we'll do talk radio on the other side after I pass. I'm sure he'll be there. Yeah, your Dropper's on one, but we already know that. Clearly making shit up. Clearly. Just making stuff up. Nah, I can't let my folks go out like that, man. Can't do it. But let's get back into it. I've got some more interesting things. I mean, so many things happened over the weekend. Did you see the Florida City Commissioner? I want to give this guy my Real MC award. I want to go ahead and recognize his brother down in South Florida. And he's now getting a lot of criticism for his actions. So what happened? Let me set the scene for you. It was an officer, some police officers down in Florida were being recognized by their city commissioners. They were actually what appeared to be at the official, probably commissioner's chamber, where they do their business, where the offices are, and where the public can come and interact and things like that. And they were recognizing police officers for merit and things like that, okay? So police officer comes up. His name is Joshua Gallardo, and he was recognized as Officer of the Month, okay? as soon as he's just imagine this scene. The video's out there. I'll share a link. You can check it out for yourself. Just imagine this scene. Being recognized for Officer of the Month. You know, there's probably other officers there. The other commissioners and probably politicians are all there. This brother grabs the microphone and then called him. So what happens is the officer Gallardo came down. He was presented his Officer of the Month certificate. They had their ceremony and the well-wishing and good job and all that kind of stuff. He leaves from like the commissioner floor. I guess he's walking back to his seat. And that's when this brother, City Commissioner Mike Gillen, this just happened on Wednesday, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. And he asked the officer to come back down. And then he says, quote, "It's good to see you again," which is, you know, that can go either way. He said, "You probably don't remember me, but you're the police officer who falsely arrested me 4 years ago." He said it to his face in front of everybody. I love it. Quote, "You lied on the police report. I believe you are a rogue police officer. You're a bad police officer, and you don't deserve to be here." Did you see this? It was, man, why don't shit happen like that at our commissioners or city council? I guess, I don't know why. I guess it's a good reason. I guess this means that no members of council were being harassed. So this commissioner said that he was falsely arrested, and then the officer lied and tried to doctor information up. Check this out.
I want to congratulate all the BSO officers who've done such a great job.
Do all you can. Morning, Captain.
Joshua Gallardo,
It's my line.
can you come down for a second?
The other folks standing with him have no idea what's about to happen.
You probably don't remember me, but you're the police officer who falsely arrested me 4 years ago. You lied on the police report. I believe you're a rogue police officer. You're a bad police officer, and you don't deserve to be here.
And the officer is like,
gentlemen, we appreciate as a whole BSO and everything that you do for us. Thank you for your service to our community. We appreciate you. Please take that away from here tonight or today.
yeah, see, I didn't like that part. Oh, as a whole, we appreciate what she got to go. We don't need to say all that. That's just a given. I love it. My thing is, what happened with his case? What happened with it? I'd love to get more details about what happened with the case. I actually put in an interview with Mr. Gillen, and perhaps we'll get a chance to talk with him sometime soon. I just want to know what the whole details of the story. Share it with us. This man's the city commissioner in front of everybody, all the official people there, all the commissioners. It's like, look, you're a rogue officer, and you shouldn't be on the force. I love it. You should be shamed for those kind of things. And since the guy's still on the force, that tells me either he didn't have a case or the officer beat the case or there wasn't enough evidence or whatever. But the brother spoke his mind, and I love it. He kept it 100. Mike Gillen is my nominee. It's a Monday. It's early, so we got a long week. But right now, my real MC of the week is this Florida City Commissioner, Mike Gillen, who kept it absolutely 100 with this officer in front of everybody. Let's listen again. This is what courage sounds like.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate as a whole BSO.
Oh, no, that's not what courage sounds like. That's what whitewashing sounds like. That's what that is. That's whitewashing. It's different.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate as a whole.
I want to hear the whitewashing. We hear enough of that in Cincinnati. Ladies and gentlemen, as a whole, let me smooth things over. F that. Keep it real, Mike.
You probably don't remember me, but you're the police officer who falsely arrested me 4 years ago. You lied on the police report. I believe you're a rogue police officer. You're a bad police officer, and you don't deserve to be here.
Dude is shook. He better watch his back. The officer was shook. How do I know? Because when he was giving him the business, he's shaking his head like, yep, I am the guy that falsely imprisoned you or whatever he said he did. Falsely arrested him and then lied on the report. Man, let's be honest here. That shit happens all the time. That's what I'm starting to learn. What I've learned at my age from the sum total of media If you just go back through all of the stories, if you calculate all of that, one thing that is undeniable is that these motherfuckers will lie on you. The officers will lie on you. They will plant evidence. They will lie when they go down to the courtrooms. These lazy-ass prosecutors will accept their word over common sense and evidence. Some of these lazy-ass judges they'll be asleep on the wheel. That's how we get all these brothers and sisters and people in general locked up, because of the system itself. It's the tip of the spear. I mean, look, if the tip of the spear, if the way that you engage with the public is inherently corrupt, then what the hell? Man, over the weekend, I saw a video of an engagement with police that didn't go so well. It didn't go so well at all. And it ended with this brother, the white guy actually, with this man being, hey, man, getting laid out. Getting laid out. Telling you, sensitivity among law enforcement at an all-time high. And I think it's because of people like Dan Hills. I'll say it again. Dan Hills, how could he be a good neighbor? How is he being a positive, agent in the city of Cincinnati? And he run around here trying to make up stories about, was it now Captain Danita Pettis, who I didn't get a chance to talk to, but she was there, I believe, at the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner. Again, if you've never gone, you should go and support the nation's the nation's oldest civil rights organization. It was a good time. But remember, how are you being a positive leader as the member of the president of the FOP, and you out here spreading rumors around about black people? You can't have it both ways. So what do you think they're saying behind closed doors over at FOP Lodge 69 on Central Parkway? What do you think they're doing? They're talking shit. Oh, they out to get you. Oh, the blacks are out to get you. Everybody's out to get you. That's why these officers, I think, in some place are getting out into the streets and they just overreacting like Amber Geiger. I don't know if you got a chance to hear it. I'd recommend you go back and check it out on Spreaker. And it's up on our Sin Digital Media Facebook page. Maybe I know some of you watched it live. Shout out for the phone calls and the shares and the engagement. We appreciate it. But I thought that Donnie B she did a very good job of breaking it all down. And she actually uncovered something I totally missed. And she touched upon the fact that one thing that came out of the Amber Geiger case, who, by the way, sidebar, Amber Geiger is another example of what I'm talking about. Just producing her podcast, I had to be on point. So, and myself just doing the show, my own general knowledge, I watched pretty much whatever was televised, I got a chance to watch, okay, in terms of the trial. And one thing is clear to me, that Amber Geiger should go to fucking jail. Now, it may not be for 20 years and 30 years, but I'm a little bit torn on that because this wasn't just no regular mistake. She never had to pull her weapon out. She never had to pull the trigger. Donnie B made an excellent point. She said, so even though you thought that it was your apartment and you thought somebody was in there, why were you so afraid? And that is a question that even the defense and or the prosecution, just didn't hammer. See, people are just taking it for granted. So listen, let me see here. I came home in the home that we have now, that we live in right now. Little Buddha was about 7 or 8. It was the summertime. We had left to go take my cousin somewhere. We were just going around the corner. We came right back, and as we walked up to the door was open. I knew I had locked the door. So I had a real sense of myself that somebody was in the house. Now, I didn't have a weapon on me. I had a weapon in the home, but I didn't have a weapon on me. It was inside the house. I went inside the house, secured my weapon, start going through. The back door, which leads to our kitchen and goes to the back door of the house, was open as well. So whoever was in the house had shot through the house. My weapon wasn't out. You know what I'm saying? It was close. We'll put it that way. But what I'm trying to point to you is if I come home, it's dark. I see shadows in there. I just won't go in. I'm not going inside there. I'm going to stay outside, call authorities, and just take a safe position. I don't have to go inside. Here's what I think happened with Amber Geiger. I think it was the arrogance of being a police officer. Here's what I mean. What I think would happen is this. I think that she was high on something. I don't care what the toxicology reports say, because, and I'm going to share some more with you know what in a second. When police officers are accused of crime, they get special treatment. They get special treatment. Okay, I'll tell you in a second. But I think what happened with Amber Geiger is she thought to herself, oh, how dare you? I'm a police officer. You chose the wrong house to break into today. I'm going to kill your ass just because I know I can get away with it. That's what I think was going through her head. It was that, oh, well, sorry for your luck, buddy. You didn't walk into the wrong house today. I think she made her mind up probably even before that. Like, how dare you come into my house? I'm an officer. Oh, I'm going to show you. I thought that the prosecution attempted to do a good job of sort of setting this up. And that is, they kept asking Amber, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? She kept saying, my training, right? We've heard this before. My training. She even referred to her weapon as her equipment, right? That's my equipment. Yeah, it's your equipment. Mm-hmm. But it's different from a fucking flashlight. It's different. It's different because that kills people, right? That's what I think. I think that unless something else comes out, I think that she was high, she was horny, and she was distracted. That's what I think. We know this because she was sexting with her boyfriend. They was going to hook up later that night. I think she was distracted, thought she went to the right house, wrong house. This is one possibility. She's completely distracted, goes to this home. The door was open because it just didn't lock. I'm wondering if Botham Jean's family is going to sue the owners of the complex, because if I push the door open and it doesn't shut, is it reasonable to believe that it should shut, and or were there some manufacturing issues that prevented the door from shutting when it was given a reasonable push or force or whatever? I don't know all of that. We'll have to wait and see. But Amber Geiger didn't have to kill this man. Why were you so afraid? You're a police officer. You got a weapon. She testified that he was moving side to side and he said, hey, as if he was probably sleeping, waking up like, wait a minute. Hey, you didn't walk through the wrong house. That makes sense. She shot this guy talking about she was so afraid I couldn't see his hands. What made you so afraid, though? Just because somebody was in the house? I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Like, if that was a private citizen, maybe it would be a different case. But I think she killed that brother in part because she was a police officer and she felt like, well, shit, you chose the wrong house today, homie. I'm going to learn you today. And it wasn't her house. That's what I think happened. It wasn't like, oh my God, let me retreat. He comes out. I can see if he came out the house and maybe they got into an altercation. Even then, she would have been the person that started it, but still. I think she should do some jail time. Donnie B thinks she'll did about 5 years. Now, what was interesting about the case that Donnie brought out, and check out the podcast for the full flow, Is It Just Me podcast, is that apparently down in Dallas, they've got she used the word habit, but to me it seems like it's sort of like a nod and wink unofficial policy, where if an officer is being processed, they turn off all the recording devices as they're transporting you down to the station. Now, she wasn't arrested. Amber Geiger wasn't arrested until a few days later. But here's how it works for normal people. Normal people, you get arrested, and when they say anything you say can be used against you, that includes the stuff that you might say when you're under surveillance and you don't even know it. So, remember when we saw the video of Pac-Man Jones wilding out in the back of the police cruiser? From what I understand, that's standard procedure. They keep the tape rolling. You keep on talking, we'll give it to the judge. When it's an officer, oh, we don't do that. They turn the body camera off. They turn this off. They turn these recording devices off because they want to make sure that the officer doesn't say something that could be used against him later? She brought up a very good question. What's the policy in Cincinnati? Would they do that in Cincinnati? If there's an officer that's been about to be processed, about to be arrested because they allegedly committed some heinous crime or some crime, are they going to get the good old boy, let's turn off all the devices? Because you and I ain't getting that. If they catch you saying something, your ass is done or done. You'll hear your own voice while you're on the witness stand during your trial, playing it back for you. It's an officer. Oh, well, let's think about this. Let's turn this off. Let's turn this off. We don't really want to get the wrong impression out there, right? That's why one of the many reasons why it's so difficult to convict officers when they step outside the lines. And if that's a habit and or an unofficial practice, is this true of all police departments across the nation? No, we got the fuzz in here, John. John, let us know. What's up? I'd like to know. If the Cincinnati police department does that, they need to stop immediately. And speaking of which, shout out to Scotty J. I missed his 50th, or not his 50th, but his retirement party. Shout out to Scotty J., longtime police officer. I'd like to know. I think those are very interesting and fair questions. All fair. But again, I feel like I'm going on and on. I want to talk to you. 513-873-7134. Let's get back to your chat. I might jump over a little bit here if I did. It's nothing personal. Drop writes, Zorro speaks. Tanika writes, time for a coffee break. John's on the line. Tony writes, good morning, Nate. What? John from New Jersey? Bye for a few minutes. Oh, my gosh. Why is Eric Holder on the Breakfast Club? Is he the new Negro? I think I read that already. See, catch up. Kush writes, persuasion polls. If polls worked in his favor, then Drop wouldn't be saying polls don't work because he has used polls when they were in Trump's favor. Right. Yeah, when the economy seemed to be like a puppet on a string for Trump during the first year, and it was all great news, and Trump was talking about, the stock market as if that's some kind of indicator of the economic health of America. It is not. It's an indicator of the interest of potential investors and nothing more. It's not some big indicator of the health of America. But Trump was running around like it was like God had written his name into the clouds or something and ordained him to be the president. It was ridiculous. Mason Muller writes, Drop sounds more confused than Rudy. That's funny. You talking about Rudy Giuliani? And Rudy Giuliani is pretty confused. I don't even play Rudy Giuliani clips anymore because it's just like a circle. I mean, that man is just talking in circles. I can't even take it. Pamela writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Glenn, are you going to call and clean up this BS Drop is regurgitating? Yes, he did. Ray writes, as I've said, didn't they just come off a recess recently? Agreed. That if this is so detrimental, keep your A at work and do your jobs. Jackie writes, Drop is worried. I heard that too, Jackie. Yeah, he is. Well, whether Trump is impeached or not, I'm still trying to figure out what that means for me. I'm talking about impeachment, and I can definitely make an argument right off the top of my head about what that could mean in 2020 if you get a different person in the White House. I mean, I'll talk about net neutrality and some of these like automatic decisions that the president can make that I think affects the overall public policy in a lot of different ways. But impeachment. Again, I'm just not super jazzed up about the whole impeachment thing. I'm not in it. To me, this is bigger than Trump. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever policies you don't like about Trump, okay. You can only be president for 8 years. I hope to live longer than 8 years. So I'm looking more and thinking more long term, right? But in the short term, I think it's a fair question to ask whether it makes a difference or not. You tell me. See, TNT writes, the only one pulling out all the stops is Trump, corrupted behind. Why is he bringing up Hillary's old-ass emails? What the F? Anything to deflect off his traitor activity, right? if somebody had asked me, like, do you think that Trump, like before Trump was ever elected the president, do you think that Trump's the kind of person that might collude with a foreign power? I would have told you absolutely, yeah. Yeah, this is nothing for Trump. Trump is about him, his agenda. Whoever helps me in that moment, Republicans, Democrats, Trump is not even a Republican. He's a Democrat. He was a Hillary supporter for years. So Trump is what you call an opportunist. When he saw an opportunity to go Republican, he took it. When he saw an opportunity to maybe get some dirt on Hillary by colluding with the Russians, he took it. When he saw an opportunity to make some money with his Trump hotel in D.C., he took it. When he saw an opportunity to, work with the Ukrainian president, who, by the way, is newly elected in Ukraine, and he's a Trump clone. He's a Trump clone. He's got the same story as Trump, but he was elected after Trump. The guy was, get this, a television reality star in the Ukraine, became the president. So Trump's basically talking to his damn self from the Ukraine, his Ukrainian carbon copy. So, of course, he's going to say, hey, got this election coming up. Any dirt you can hit, anything you can help me with? That's politics. That's politics. And I don't know, did Obama ever do anything like this? If he did, it never came out. I mean, that's what I can say. If he did, it never came out. TNT writes, kill that noise. Tony writes, Trump is coming off like Tony Soprano for this whistleblower. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Kev, who was right about Team Light Skin not getting the black support in the primary? Well, but we could have all predicted that just because of the relationship between Team Light Skin. You're talking Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. That's what he refers to them as Team Light Skin. Because of their relationship, before they announced. So I'm not sure that was like a big stretch right there. But I do give you credit, Drop. You did. Iris writes, miss that dear brother T-Bone. I do too. I like T-Bone. He was a talk radio listener, man. I think he was dealing with cancer. It was very, very emotional for me. I just hate to hear about people in general being in pain, especially my people that support me. And I'm just being real with you, right? I'm sure you feel the same way. You rock with me, I rock with you. Simple as that to the end. Yeah, man. T-Bone's a good guy. Good guy. Appreciate it. Broadway writes, dummies out here doing everything except put up a viable candidate to get rid of Trump. Shaking my head. It's a show, and y'all know how the movie ends. Waste of time and energy. Broadway, I can't say I disagree with you, man. I mean, like I said, I understand the potential political consequences for Trump. It could potentially make it more difficult for him to get reelection. But you never know how this shit goes, man. The Democrats throw this impeachment out there. You never know. You never know how this ends. Never know. You never know, man. Cedric Dents is in the house. He writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, Cedric. And thanks for being here. See, Cassandra writes, hey, choppers. Hey, looking good, Cassandra. Let me check out this avatar right here. Got the glasses popping. Love it. Good to see everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. My weekend was good overall. Friday, I'll be honest with you, I crashed. I ain't gonna lie. I did. I hit a wall like bing and woke up in the next day. Saturday was super busy. Got a chance to go to the Freedom Fund dinner. Saw a lot of good people, a lot of familiar faces. I can't recall the keynote speaker, but man, I thought she was just so real. And she just brought something. I was a little bit like, I don't know who the speaker is, but I see why they chose her. And she was not a fan of Trump. And got a chance to link up with Yvette Simpson. So look for that interview really, really soon. We're going to talk sometime this week. Of course, she was recognized for the work that she does. And I'm happy for Yvette because I thought she got so much hate in this city. People talking about who she dating, what her skin color. I mean, people was talking about all kind of shit. And I've heard all the rumors about the way that she did her campaign. I'm no expert, so who am I to say? But I've heard all that, true or not. I just thought she got a bad deal. I mean, even after that with the mayor. But it is what it is. That's politics. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Now you snap back. She's doing big, big things. Big, humongous And I can't wait to talk with her about it this week. Can't wait. She's doing humongous shit. It's after 9:30, y'all. Listen, if you're just tuning in, after 9:30 is when we can curse. I put that in place because, and I'm the number one, chief serial offender on that. I fully admit it. So I'm trying to show leadership here. But because, of the children being transported, people listen to the show while they're moving from A to B, only after 9:30 when we can really get busy with the language, because we are adults and we got to have some spaces for ourselves. And it's the internet. Cam's in the house. He writes, good morning. Yeah, I talked about that. Hey, Cam, if you're still there, I read from your Facebook page about the announcement later today. I don't know if you have any time. I know you're a very busy man, but I'd love for you to maybe give us a call, 513-873-7134, or just drop us your thoughts on, how you feel about it. Again, from your Facebook page, I got a good sense, but hearing from the man himself is always better, right? But let me read this again. I'm on Cam Hardy's Facebook page. And this was put up 15 hours ago. Speaking of today, tomorrow is a huge day, as in today, for bus riders in Hamilton County. We started this mission about 3 years ago to bring awareness around our outdated and outmodeled bus system. So tomorrow, as in today, the Sorter Board will have a special meeting in which they will vote to put something on the March 2020 ballot to improve public transportation in Hamilton County. So I plan on being there, and I'll give you some firsthand information as it comes in. Could be very interesting. What does that mean? What does that mean? Good morning. What does that mean exactly? Terrence writes, it's a sad state of affairs when we as soldiers in the theater of war, we must positively identify our target before engagement. But here at home, law enforcement are allowed to shoot just because of a perception. That female officer should be found guilty of negligent homicide at a minimum. Like I said, I thought Donnie B made a great point in that, what were you afraid of? Now, I think that if you go to your house and you feel like somebody's in there and you're seeing shadows, then you're going to be afraid. You're going to have some anxiety. You're going to feel something. But is that enough to feel like you are under a threat? So when I came home, like I told you a story about how somebody broke into my house. They must have just, as soon as I pulled into the driveway, they must have just jumped into the house. The only thing they stole was my daughter's Kindle, which we quickly, and again, we were just in a position to quickly get her another one, right? She was tore up about it because she couldn't understand, somebody, and she was shook about it for a while as well in terms of, making sure the doors were locked. She's still like that to this day because of that incident. I didn't feel like my life was in danger, but I also didn't see anybody. Had I opened the door and seen somebody like a shadow, I would have felt something. Would I have felt as if my life is in danger right then? It depends on what they do. So Amber Geiger testified that Botham Jean was slowly walking toward the door. First, he was moving side to side, and then he was walking toward the door. I don't know. See, part of me feels like some of these police officers, they're people like Dan Hills, behind closed doors, they're being brainwashed into believing that everybody's out to get you, that every black person is a potential threat, that no black people like you, and that you got to watch your back. And I think being in law enforcement, you do have a target on your back. But do officers carry that into their personal life where they're always super hey, this could be the day, or this could be the time, or maybe this could be somebody I arrested and their family members trying to come back and get me or something like that? Look, Amber Geiger needs to go to jail, period. Maybe not for 20 years, but she needs to go to jail, period, because she had options and she didn't choose them. And see, that's the thing that burns me up about law enforcement. Law enforcement, when officers do things that's outside, when officers are involved with these shootings and everything seems like it was done the right way, they go back to their training. Oh, this was my training. My training. This is what I was trained. They don't refer to the weapon as a gun when they're on the witness stand. They refer to it as a tool. They refer to it as equipment. Like during the trial, her defense attorney, they weren't referring to the gun as a gun. They were saying your equipment. Why? Psychological. Equipment. This is something that you use. It's a tool of the trade. It's just like a screwdriver. It's what you're trained to do. But my problem with this is that when officers do not follow the rules, the very same people that's out there patting them on the back when they do follow the rules don't have nothing to say about it. So if you take it back to a local case here, and I went to the press conference down at the Police Officer Lodge number 69, Dan Hills was there, and they were talking about how a black officer was basically going to get his job back. You know, he didn't lose his job, but basically he was trying to say the officer was exonerated for what he did tasing this little girl. But the officer didn't follow the procedure. If you've got a taser policy and you don't follow it, I just feel like that should be a bigger offense than what it really is, because it leads to people getting killed. So, for instance, with that case over in Kennard, with the Kennard Street Kroger, and by the way, I've not gone to the new Kroger, and I think Donnie B has, and she's going to be talking about it on Friday on the next episode 15 of Is It Just Me podcast. She went down, and she got some things she want to share, just a sidebar. But my thing is, if you go back to that case with the Kennard Kroger, the officer did not give the young girl the proper warning that he should have. What I argue is if you say, hey, stop before I taser you, that goes a long way. You might not have to taser somebody. There's a lot of people, if you're dealing with somebody or law enforcement, they say, look, I'm going to taser you. That's going to catch your ear like, oh, taser? Pain? Electricity? Involuntary convulsions? Falling on the floor? That's going to catch your ear. So to not do that means that you've removed a step that could have prevented you from using what could be lethal measures. That's a big deal. With Amber Geiger, she did not follow police procedure, as it was explained by the prosecutor. Police procedure in a situation like that is to back up, don't go inside, call for backup. When you get numbers, we'll sort it out. If Amber Geiger had done that, Botham Jean would be alive today, right now, because she would have backed up. The officers would have showed up. They would have been like, when the officer, somewhere between, if Amber Geiger had followed her training, somewhere in between her making that phone call and the officer showing up, it would have snapped. Oh, this is the wrong spot. The wrong spot. Because one or two things would have happened. She would have been looking around as she was radioing in, and maybe it would have been like, oh, I'm on the 4th floor, not the 3rd floor. Or she would have said, I'm on the 3rd floor. The police officers would have came and went to the 3rd floor and been like, where you at, Amber? Oh, I'm on the 4th floor. And Botham Jean would be alive today. But no. To me, her mentality was, oh, I'm the law. I'm law. You just made a mistake, homie. You ever heard black people say, I wish a motherfucker would do something? That's the kind of attitude I think she had. Like, oh, I wish somebody would come into my house. I'm an officer and try to rob me and be in there. They dead. That's what I think happened. She thought she was at home and she thought she had her rights to execute whoever was in there because she was a member of law enforcement. She ain't got to back down. She ain't got to back down. She ain't got to call. This is my house. How dare you be in my house? And she killed that guy. She really murdered him. That's what happened. It's a homicide. That's my opinion. No, murder is more of a legal definition, but that's just my humble opinion about, what went down with that Botham Jean case and Amber Geiger. Send her ass to jail. Simple as that. Iris writes, Citizen Complaint Authority, when they interview an officer, they have audio on as well. Good. She says a policy is audio is on when officers are being interviewed. Good. Good. Thank you for saying that. Good. And so my thing is, what happens, it just seems like when we're dealing with law enforcement, mistakes start happening. And, we didn't realize. We didn't know this was not all in. I didn't realize I had mistakenly turned this off at a critical moment that could have gave you more insight as to what really happened. Sorry. And I'm tired with it. I'm tired of that, man. Tired of that. Drop writes, who was right about reparations? I don't know who was right about reparations, but over the weekend, I saw a video that I want to share with you very, very quickly before we leave. And you can find this video wherever you find viral videos. I'm sure it's everywhere. But in this particular video, what you see is this young brother. Looks like they are at a political forum for Bernie Sanders. And it's a black man, it's a young black dude. And he asked a question that I thought was super fair. And you just got to hear the well, let me think about it. You should just hear the response that he got. So this young man is at an event, and it appears to be an event that's like pro Bernie Sanders. And so the brother's sitting there and he's listening to them talking, and he's like, well, why should I support Bernie Sanders when Bernie Sanders don't support reparations for blacks? But if you go back to, 2016, he approved it for Jews. Yeah. Yeah, and apparently there were black people who were on the panel who were, I guess Bernie supporters. And there's a lot of black Bernie supporters, including Killer Mike and Nina Turner and others. But check this out.
He likes to throw MLK's name around, but MLK supported reparations and Bernie's against it. So why should I support somebody who is against reparations for my people? But he supported reparations for Jewish people back in 2012 with the Holocaust Railroad Justice Act.
Well, Dr. Reed, I'm gonna let you handle it, and I'm gonna jump in.
Hold on a second. She was like, well, I'm going to let you handle this. I know she is. That's a damn good question. Explain that for me. And then I'm going to jump in. I got a lot to say about that. Well, you got so much to say about it. Why don't you go first? Because she ain't got shit to say. She want the doctor to smooth this over. Excellent question, by the way. Let's get back to the answer.
In the first place, the reason that Senator Sanders voted for one of the crime bills is sort of complicated because it has something to do with the violence against women program.
And the ban on assault.
And the ban on assault weapons, right. But with respect to reparations...
So he said the reason why Bernie voted for that, and I said 2016 in error, it was 2012, was because of the ban on assault. And I've heard Bernie say that. But I thought, that gives you a window into how people are looking at this. I'll say it again. Joe Biden got problems. A lot of folks, they ain't feeling Joe. They ain't feeling him. And they're not feeling his excuses, or I should say his explanations about his support for the crime bill and some of the other maneuvers that he's made as well. Interesting. Nathan Ivers writes, Ivers Rowley writes, to me, it's not in BWC. The room records the room records the conversation, so that mistake shouldn't happen. Okay. Amber writes, Drop writes, Amber's going to jail 5 years or 15 years is the question. Sister V writes, Amber crying with that tore face with no tears. She reminded me of Susan Smith crying after she killed her kids and blamed it on a black man. Right. Hope Susan Smith burns in hell, drowned her babies and blamed it on black people, on a black man. That's dangerous. Because there's people that read that like, oh, okay. Y'all trying to revolt? Oh, y'all uprising? Got you. Robbie Flo writes, it wouldn't be the first time a super guilty white woman walked. You're right. Mason Muller writes, Django Stephen types are always looking at the bright side for white people. GTFOH. That's funny. Oh, man. Iris writes, she should have never been a police officer. I would love to see her psychological makeup. Let's start there. Great points. Right about that. Mm-hmm. Iris writes, he didn't have to taser that child for so many reasons, starting when she was 11 years old. That's why policy change occurred. Yep, they did change the policy afterward. Ayana writes, my goodness, Nate, sorry to hear that you guys experienced a break-in. I did too, and it's the worst feeling over 15 years ago. Yeah, I guess being a man, knowing I got a weapon in the house, I pretty much got over it quick. I didn't have any residuals. I mean, I just made sure I kept the door locked and things like that. He crawled in through a side window that was unlocked. It was shut but unlocked. And part of the house is shaded with trees. So it made it easy for him to do it. It was a kid. He's some kid. And he basically grabbed the garbage can, pulled the garbage can around to the side of the house, and then stood on the garbage can so he had enough, to lift himself up because it's a very high window to our kitchen from the side. That's why I never thought I had to worry about it. So this kid, probably a teenager or something, took the trash can and put it on the side of the house and then opened the window. You know what I'm saying? It's real simple. Now, I got over it quick. I didn't have no nightmares. I ain't think about it, no flashbacks, because it was okay. And plus, we got a weapon in the house, so I ain't too worried about it. And but my daughter, though, that messed with her probably to this day. She is super on keeping the doors locked, and is the door locked? Dad, is the door locked? And I'm like, you've never been a victim of crime except for that one time when somebody crawled into the kitchen window and stole her Kindle. But, when you live in a city, ish like that's going to happen. So we got insurance, and nobody was hurt. So all is good. But it can shake you, though. It can shake you. It can shake you. Like, had I opened the door and saw somebody here, my heart would have been pounding already because it's fight or flight. You in my house. So I'm thinking fight. So I get that. But I think there's something to be said for making sure that it's actually a threat. Because if that's the case, let's say I'm coming home one day and as I'm walking up the stairs, I see a shadow in the window. Like somebody was in the window and now it looks like they're to the side of the window. So I'll take my weapon out and fire 6 rounds straight through the side of the house, hoping to get them. Or maybe I shoot through the door because I think somebody's in my house. You can't do that. You can't do that. What if Amber Geiger has said, I heard somebody as I was opening the door, so she fires through the door and shoots him. Don't even open the door to see. And I don't know. Does it make a difference what she actually saw? Like, if you see somebody sitting there asleep, what's to be afraid of? But of course, that's not what she said. She said the guy was walking around and couldn't see his hands. A lot of stuff that I seen a pick up seemed to be like textbook things that you hear. Terrence writes, ADOS isn't really helping anyone. Bobby Flo writes, ADOS ain't playing with these Democrats. With ADOS, it's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward. Because they definitely got people's attention. They got a conference coming up next week. And, but there are criticisms like, okay, so other than that, what are you actually doing? What's going on here? It's a good conversation point, but is that all it is? We shall see. Good morning. I've read the ADOS talking points. What they want is in exchange for their votes takes more than just one party. See the difference yet? Robbie Flo writes, ADOS is holding people accountable. Did y'all vote Republican? Shaking my head. So how are they holding people accountable exactly? Who Magic writes, ADOS ain't playing with these Democrats, but think the Republicans are going to let them on the playground. Robbie Flo writes, the only black issues brought up by Dems was ADOS driven. Only black issues brought up by the Dems was ADOS driven. Okay, so early on, there was a lot of talk about reparations. Is that kind of dying down? So you got the next presidential debates coming up on the 15th. And if Marianne Williamson is not there, of course, you got Elizabeth Warren. She's on that reparations kick. I'm just trying to think who's left in the field who would actually bring these things up. And also, is Andrew Yang a part of that? Because I got some problems with some of the things that Andrew Yang has said. He is an Asian American presidential candidate. And, Andrew Yang has said some things, even in the debates, that I thought were very questionable. He made some jokes about how he knows a lot of doctors, which plays into the stereotype that Asians are the model minority. You ever heard that phrase before? The model minority. It's very toxic. It's very toxic. And so Andrew Yang, presidential candidate, he said a couple things. He said, number one, that racism against Asians is more acceptable than racism against black folks. Is that true? And then two, he made these jokes about knowing a lot of bankers and doctors and things like that people called him out on because it's toxic. Here he is making jokes about how Asian people are more affluent or more educated, which creates what people call the model minority, right, myth or paradigm, right, where you can take one, racial minority group, let's say Asians, and they're imbued with all of these positive things, right? So what does that do for all the other racial groups? It makes them seem like they're less successful or less than what Asian Americans are doing. It's very toxic. It's like a backhanded compliment almost. There's an edge to it that supports the idea that Asian Americans, and if you look at the numbers, maybe it's true, it supports the idea that Asian Americans are a successful minority and that other minority groups are not as successful. That ain't good, Andrew Yang. And this man is 40-something years old, wants to be president. He's supposed to know that. He's supposed to know that. But he has said some things that make sense. He said that, people talk about teaching people financial literacy. It's hard to do if you don't have any money. Very interesting. All right, a few more comments, and then I've got to make a move, choppers. A lot of things going on. See here, is the LGBTQ effing the Republicans? They are called log cabin Republicans. You stupid ass people don't even know your own party. Hashtag tricks are for kids. Terrence writes, Mason Mahler, exactly. Reparations is something that will have to be legislated or done by an executive order. So a one-sided plan for only one party doesn't necessarily make their agenda possible to enact. Terrence, you 100%. And I said that from day one. The fight for reparations, unless one of the parties decides we're going to champion this or something like this, it's a local, state, regional, national effort. And let's say Elizabeth Warren or Marianne Williamson, if we elect a president that's pro-reparations, that doesn't mean that reparations are going to happen. It would depend on a couple things. Number one, what's the makeup of the country? What's the mood of the country? What's the makeup of the Senate? What's the makeup of the House of Representatives? All this will matter. And then secondly, you can be for something, because we see this with politicians all the time. You can be for something, and then get in office, but you don't really run hard at it. You for it. Yeah, I support reparations, but it ain't like the number one thing you get out there to champion for every single day. You know what I'm saying? And if you got a politician, let's say a president, who is of that particular, slot, like they're for reparations. Hey, they say the right thing and all. They go on the Breakfast Club. They say the right things. Black people deserve reparations. But it's not going to be the number one thing they push or within the top three things they push when they get in office. Then what difference does it make? It don't make no difference whatsoever. Makes no difference. So what? You got somebody that's pro-reparations, but they ain't got no real power to do nothing. They don't really have enough support where they really need to have support. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out this weekend. It'll be interesting. It will be very interesting. Let me see here. Mason Muller writes, Pamela writes, Nate, those pictures of you at the Freedom Fund were dynamite. Did you ever accept that modeling gig? Yes, I did. You are very photogenic and handsome, especially in a suit. That tie set off the whole look. You need to accept that gig. I appreciate it. Thank you, Pam. I'm feeling good today. Yes, rack her for that. It's not even a phone call. I appreciate it. I had a good time. And I picked out everything myself. I did, and I'll get those images back. It was for Fuel Collective. Fuel Collective is like a co-working space over in Hyde Park. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking very, very seriously about working with them in terms of what I'm doing now. So look for that. But yeah, they were doing. Hey, I got the call. I got the hookup, and I jumped on it. It was a lot of fun. Had a great like. I forget what they called it. It was something. Blue suit. Oh man, it was great. Can't wait to get those pics. I mean, listen, if I don't love me, who will? Gotta love me. What's the name of the black man, the chop shop, who called himself a conservative? Still proud to be a conservative? You Gilligan/Buster. Terrence writes, yep, impeachment will make the GOP go on the record on whether or not they support his behavior. I believe they will lose their Senate majority if they don't convict in Senate. See, again, that's the potential situation that this impeachment could put the Republican Party in. You're right. It could also swing back the other way and be a backlash against the Democrats. We shall see. We shall see. I will, for sure, Pamela. I will. Thank you. Answer to someone wanting accountability is what the Republicans sound like house Negroes to me. Don't talk about my master. What? What? I missed something there. Iris writes, good to see you in the wifey, Nathan Ivey, Roadshow Awards, official awards provider for the Freedom Fund dinner. I did see that. By way of donations of all awards. Beautiful event. Keynote was powerful and right on time. Congratulations to all the honorees and special recognition. Absolutely. And again, I'll say I thought Alexis Rogers did a great job. She's the current president of the Black Journalists of Cincinnati. As a matter of fact, they are putting together a podcast event. If you want to learn anything about podcasting, and they asked me to be a part of it. That's coming up on October I think it's October the 6th. October is going to be real busy. You got debates coming up. You got a bunch of events that are happening as well, and I'll give you a heads up on everything that's going on. It's called Podcast 101, and it's going to be Wednesday, October the 9th from 7:15 to 8:15 a.m., and we're going to be over at the Cincinnati Enquirer on Elm Street. Okay, that'll be dope. I wonder where it's going to be, like in a conference room over there. Got a pretty good conference room over there at the Enquirer. Okay, that's great. So it'll be myself, a brother named who I have met a few times, but I don't know him like that. Hopefully we can get to know each other. His name is Lawrence Kane. And a white female named Amanda Rossman, who's done some big things. She's the co-creator and producer of the Accused podcast for the Cincinnati Enquirer. And that Accused podcast, man, very popular. Very popular. So I'm looking forward to it. That's October the 9th. Podcast 101. They got a great pic of me. Shout out to my friends over at Shanghai Imaging for the photo. Appreciate it. Yes. Let me see. I want to make sure I get everything in before we roll out. I'm trying to think. Did anything happen that I can share with you? I didn't hear anything. I mean, really, I was really with the wifey, just greeting people, taking photographs, stuff like that. I didn't really have any conversations about anything that I can share with you. Just trying to think here. Absolutely. Law enforcement has said she did not follow training. If you don't follow your training, you got to go to jail. You can't give officers a slap on the wrist when they don't follow training, because the training is what keeps people alive. Like I said, I got two brothers. Both of my brothers are over 6 feet. That could have been them. Can happen at any moment. So I can't focus on it and emphasize it enough. Mason Marler writes, as EPMD would say, ain't no future in your cooning? I'm not sure they said that. What's up, Fast Pitch? She writes, the Dems running for office feel that reparation support is not a real deal breaker for the African-American diaspora. So they're only going to push it so far. Right. Look, ADOS was hot at the beginning of this process early this year. Early on, the Dems had to have something to talk about that would attract black people. So they talk about reparations. It's sounding good. But the whole time, we here on this show have been appropriately skeptical about what this all means. You know, we're not going to fall for the banana in the damn tailbite. We ain't falling for that. And we shall see just how much the Democrats really support reparations. We'll find out in a couple of weeks. We'll find out when we get a nominee. We'll find out. And I think it's going to have an impact, as it should. Terrence writes, what's also self-deprecating for their movement is to promote not voting or participating at all unless their demands are met. We must participate actively at every level of government for change, not just a one-time movement. And I am a descendant of a slave, a conductor of the Underground Railroad. His name is Arnold Graxton. I believe in reparations, but we have to be honest about all processes involved for devoted change. I didn't realize that. So they're saying reparations or no, reparations or bust. That's stupid. Because if you really believe in reparations, I'm going to say this again, it's a cumulative effect. It ain't going to happen because you elect a president that's pro-reparations. That's not going to be enough. It's going to have to be a local. I mean, you set the tone for that locally, regionally, nationally. House of Representatives, 1st Congressional District, 2nd Congressional District, you're asking those questions about reparations. If Obama was 100% for reparations, it still wouldn't have happened unless there was a groundswell of energy from the grassroots. Because if you think about it, for the first term, going way, way back to 2008, that first term, the Democrats had a majority in the House of Representatives for 2 years, up until that first midterm election in 2010. That's when you had the Tea Party, right? The Tea Party was big. Shout out to my Tea Partiers, now Trumpsters. And Obama didn't do it. He focused on healthcare, which, might have been a better deal, actually. So we shall see. More of your chat before we roll. Ray writes, Nathan, yeah, we'll find out who can yabba dabba dabba do the best. Reparations may not be the top 5 after they talk a good game, right? Broadway writes, the Negro gonna vote for Dems anyway, right? F accountability. Just keep getting ignored. I don't see that. I don't see that, man. Especially not with younger voters. I don't see that with younger voters at all. And every day, just yesterday, I came across an article about younger voters being skeptical about the Democrats and some of the top Democrat candidates right now for president. So it depends. I think there's a schism. It's an age schism, just the way people look at things differently, maybe. But I don't really see that, man. And again, we never make those criticisms of the Republican Party. There's black folks out there that vote Republican with the allegiance they should be showing only to their children and their wife and a significant other. And they do it religiously, right? We don't ever talk about it. To me, this is just me. To me, the most important relationship is not the relationship that the black community has with the Democrat Party. It's not the relationship that the black community has with the Republican Party or the Independent Party. It's the relationship we have with ourselves. We get that shit together, we'll be on point. To steal a phrase, is it just me? I mean, that's how I look at it. It's just like any other relationship. Like the most important relationship you have is not who you're going to marry. It's you. It's the relationship with yourself. Brownie Flo writes, ADOS is more than reparations. We're going to find out because I'm going to talk with either one or both of the founders sometime this week. So we're going to find out firsthand for ourselves. And I've spoken with Yvette Carnell a couple times over the years. I think she does great work. Way before ADOS, I was hip to Yvette Carnell. I'm very aware of Antonio Brown, although I'm sure that Black Lion is going to swear up and down he told me about the brother first. But I'm very aware of that brother. lawyer, and when he kicked off his YouTube show, I was one of the first people to look at it before he blew up with the ADOS thing. So, and Yvette Carnell, I've been hit with Yvette since she called way before this. But I think the last time I talked to Yvette Carnell was when she said something about Farrakhan, and the brothers was coming from her. It was coming for her, and I wanted to get her thoughts, and she had a great conversation. Very, very smart woman. Ray writes, will you have Miss Gwen McFarland on the show? Yes, I will. I finally got a chance to meet Gwen McFarland. Thank you, Ray. I finally got a chance to meet her, and she said she was aware of the show, and she is willing to come on, and I'll make that happen ASAP. I'll make it happen ASAP. Yeah, we definitely got to talk to her. Most definitely. Yeah, so I'm a hip to Yvette Carnell. I've never spoken with Tone or Antonio or however he likes to be referred to. Because, I mean, Yvette Carnell was doing Breaking Brown. And, you know, shout out to Boyce Watkins. You know, Boyce Watkins actually turned that on. You know, he actually, you know, was helping Yvette Carnell, and they fell out, actually. I'm not sure what they fell out about. I think they fell out about money. Yvette Carnell said that she wasn't getting paid. And then she was like, she said that Boyce Watkins was a fraud because he talking all this shit about money, but he can't even afford to take care of his people. I don't know what happened there. Some people might like Fly Nubian Queens. Well, guess who started that? Boyce Watkins is who started that. So we shall see. I know there was a sister that used to be on that channel as well, and she left. Michi X. I don't know if she had any issues with Boyce Watkins. Haven't seen anything, but you know, that's what it is, man. I mean, you know, people gonna fall out. You might have a plan that don't work. You just gotta adapt and keep moving forward. So Terrence writes, if we as a community voted every election 60-70%, we wouldn't have to ask them to do anything. That's holding people accountable. Voting and petitioning the various legislative bodies. It doesn't stop with simple demands and acts. That's a half-hearted approach. In Cincinnati, if we got to that 60 to 70% turnout and everything else remaining equal, he's absolutely right. I'm talking about the city of Cincinnati. I mean, I have to look at the numbers countywide, which I've yet to do, which I will be doing soon. I just want to look at the county, where it's heading, who is the county of Hamilton County, right? And kind of look at some of the recent election trends. I agree with you. And this is what I tell people about voting, man. People say, oh, your vote don't matter. It's like, well, we haven't really fully exercised it the way we should. If we get those numbers up across the country, man, we'll make these Republicans come up with all kinds of laws to prevent people from voting. Speaking of which, man, as you can tell, I'm in a mood this morning. I just haven't got a chance to talk with you since Friday. And I love connecting with the people, love chopping it up with people that like to talk about what's going on. And it's just, there's a lot to talk about. A whole lot to talk about. Let me move on here. One thing I learned over the weekend is that if you're out, let's say you go to a concert, let's say you go to a DaBaby concert. The one thing you don't want to do is put your hands on that man because you're going to get your ass knocked out. Did you see that video of DaBaby's security goons knocking out a woman? Apparently she slapped him. Some woman slapped him in the back of the head. And she probably woke up right. She's probably waking up right now because of it. She was out cold. And, you know, what kind of coward is out here swinging super hard on a woman? You ain't got to swing super hard on no damn woman. I might think that shit weak, but I'm not going to play it. But there's a video of his bodyguard saying that he thought it was a man. And if he thought it was a woman, he wouldn't have did that. So apparently she smacks him in the back of the head. I don't know what it is about certain people that like to do those kind of things. I used to work with a guy named Lincoln Ware, who's a bit older now. He doesn't have as much hair as he used to. And many years ago, we were at an event in a neighborhood called Avondale. Never forget this. It's about however many years it was. We were doing an event in the community, and a woman came up behind Lincoln Ware and smacked him in the back of the head so hard that I had tears in my eyes. Not really, but you get the point I'm trying to make. I mean, the sound of her hand hitting the back of his bald head resonated through the trees, through all of Avondale, way down the street. People was like, wait a minute, what is that? Sound like a sonic boom. I mean, she smacked the mess out of Lincoln. And I'll never forget it. Because this is why Lincoln wears a gentleman. And you could see tears in his eyes. I couldn't understand why she did it. And she was like one of his regular listeners. I won't tell you who it is. If I tell you who it is, then you're going to know her name. And she still calls him to this day, I'm sure. And Lincoln, this is when I knew that Lincoln was a good guy, man, because she smacked Lincoln so hard that if Lincoln had smacked her back, nobody could say anything about it. That's how hard she smacked him. And when I saw what happened with the baby, that's what I thought of. And Lincoln, where he just took it, man, you could tell he was madder than a hornet. He just took it. And I think he might have laughed it off. He might have cussed her out or something, but he didn't swing back on her. And, I was like, damn. Tanika writes, wait, was it Bernadette? No, it wasn't Bernadette. No, Bernadette didn't do that. It was another black female listener. Calls them all the time. And, I was embarrassed. I was mad for Lincoln because, he's just doing the show. I was mad like, damn. And this shit happened so fast, there was nothing I can do about it. I mean, if I could have, I would have tried to block it. It happened just like that. I was sitting right next to Jerry Tolliver, man. It was funny, but it wasn't funny. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't funny because I hate to see anybody being hit. Like I told you, she hit him so hard. I'm going to say this again. That if Lincoln had got up and smacked her in her mouth, nobody can say nothing about it. It just would have been what it was. I'm talking about, like, super hard in the back of the head. Oh, my God. And that's when I knew that Lincoln Ware was a good guy. That's what I knew. Don't bring that story up today. You listen to his show or call in. Pamela, my vote is a transaction. You think your vote is personal? Tony writes, it was crazy sounding Zakiya. It was Zakiya. You're right. It was. It was. Who I just saw Zakiya over at Corinthian Baptist Church when they had like a public event and they had the superintendent was there of the schools. And I saw her over there. Iris writes to Ray, the unfortunate part for the city was giving UC the ability to patrol the streets. And citizens did not know this. UC has different rules, trainings, discipline, and union. How did Tony pull that out, man? It was Zakiya. Majestic writes, Miss Nettie slapped that dome. Now, Miss Nettie wouldn't do that. I'll never forget it, man. I thought Lincoln was going to haul off on her, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a bad scene. He just took it. Tears in his eyes. You ever get hit so hard and you got tears in your eyes? You're not crying, or you feel a pain or something, maybe twist your ankle. Well, twist the ankle never did that for me, but I broke my toe once playing basketball. That was not good. That was not good. I'm aware that y'all will never let facts get in the way of blind allegiance and votes without representation. Broadway Flow, who are you talking to, man? This is Cyber Wakanda. There ain't no blind allegiance over here. I don't believe that. Let me see. Zakiya calls him Paw Paw on the regular. Pamela writes, I saw a picture of Zakiya. I'm not saying anything negative about Zakiya. I like her. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm not trying to vilify her or criminalize her in any way. I just thought it was interesting. When I saw the baby get slapped in the back of the head, the first thing I thought about was what happened with Lincoln Ware. He was a good guy for that. He was a good guy. Broadway Floyd writes, stop, Nate. Stop what, man? Like I keep telling you, black people are not dumb. I don't believe that black people are dumb. I never believe that about black people. I don't think that black people are dumb. Black people vote Democrat because they're choosing a better path based upon what's available in their minds. Now, we might say, well, ultimately, it's not enough. Okay, I agree with you. I'm just saying, Broadway, that's how I honestly feel. I hear you say this a lot, like, oh, people just do it blindly. Who's doing that blindly? I don't, from what I'm reading and hearing, I don't see people voting blindly. The folks in this room are talk radio news people. These folks are in the news every day. right? They're watching news, they're listening to this show and other shows, staying aware, interacting. There are no brain dead, blind leading the blind. That's not where this is. You in a different spot. This is the Nathan Ivey Show. This is the chop shop. We don't roll like that. We chop it up. Everything's open for discussion. We even go after each other. So I just don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see it at all. But at the same time, I do agree that a more coordinated and unified approach is necessary. I do agree with that. Majestic writes, the GDP and economy is stagnant. Terrence writes, Broadway, that's kind of empty words. Your transaction gets you what? Nathan loves you guys. I do. Including you, Broadway. Like I said, I'm a sucker. I'm super simple to figure out, kinda. I support people that support me, real simple. And I give them the same level of support. But it ain't about love, Broadway. We've been doing this show now for 3+ years. I've got a chance to read people's comments. This is not our first election cycle. You know what I'm saying? Just like with Trump, the people in this audience was already hip to the games. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see that. I will leave your babies alone. See, there you go. No, I'm just simply asking you to explain it. That's it. I mean, you might be right. Stretch, but it's possible. I'm big enough to admit that. I like to believe that. It may take me a minute, but if I'm wrong, I'll come around and say it eventually. At least I like to believe that anyway. No, I disagree with you, man. I don't think there's any blind allegiance. I don't think that. Terrence writes, civil rights protections, consumer protections are being eliminated, all by the GOP. Food programs for our less fortunate families, tax dollars being taken away from our communities. It's all GOP lead. Broadway Floyd writes, civil rights was nothing but toothless legislation. That's not true. That's not true, Broadway. I don't think the history books would back that up, especially not as a person of color, as a minority in this country. I don't see that at all. But, I mean, we can agree to disagree. I don't see that one, B. Broadway Flow writes, even Martin caught on too late, but he did. Martin Lawrence? Or Martin Short? What Martin? Are you talking Martin Luther King? What Martin are we talking about here exactly? Which Martin? Mason Marler writes, I knew it was over when black conservatives who supported Donald Trump and the Republicans, when the black guy known as that African American over there left the GOP and called out Trump's racism. Terrence writes, civil rights are enforceable by federal and state statutes when violated, so that's damn sure not toothless. Brian Flo writes, MLK, Nate. Yeah, okay. Well, listen, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early, at 8 a.m. all week long. We'll chop it up. As I confirm some of the interviews that I've sort of implied that we'll be having over the next week, I will let you know. You can follow me on Facebook, Nathan Ivey. I've got a show page up as well, The Nathan Ivey Show. And you can also go to the Friends Who Like the Nathan Ivey Show. It's a closed group for people that rock with the Nathan Ivey Show. It's a great place to put stuff. And in terms of show prep or potential guests or topics, articles, that's a great way. You can always send me a link as well. I do have tickets to the Michael Jackson tribute that are left. I don't have any JB Smooth tickets that are left. They've already been given out. If you would like to go to the event, it is October the 11th, I believe, which is a Friday. It's a Michael Jackson tribute, courtesy of my friends of Live Nation. If you're looking for tickets to your concerts and different events, check out Live Nation first. So let me know. I'm just giving them away first come, first serve basis. Have an excellent day, and we'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.